Hey everybody, this is Clint Macro with Meet the Pressers. I'm coming to you live from the 2026 NRA annual meeting in Houston, Texas at the Voices of the Second Amendment area at the Meet the Pressers Gun Freedom Radio Stage of Liberty. Studio Liberty. How about that? Yeah, my partner Matt Mallory is currently upstairs teaching a seminar, so I'm running solo, but I've got some old friends here, some fantastic people within the industry. I've got Britt, Lentz, and Mike Hughes from NextLevel Training, and I have Tes Salb from HIVIZ Sites. Yes. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
So it wasn't planned that we would be doing this together, but it's a family kind of environment here at the NRA annual meeting. It's like a little old home week.
It is.
So I feel like this is kind of a family thing that we're doing right here.
Yeah.
So what all do you guys have going on new? I know Tess, you guys have new products over at HIVIZ, and I know Mike, you're always working on something. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
So HIVIZ Shooting Systems is known for our innovative sight systems, and our newest sighting system is the Fast Dot H3, which is a single dot sight system that mounts like your traditional iron sights. And the rear sight has tritium and fiber optic in it, and when you align the front sight behind the rear sight appears to light up or turn on, meaning you're good to go. And it bridges the gap between iron sights and the red dot for an additional sighting option.
Have you guys seen this product?
No, but I'm going to check it out. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, HIVIZ is one of the sponsors of the PDN training tour, and I was able to play around with them and put them on some of the guns and actually take them out and see students use them, and it's pretty impressive. It's a pretty big dot. It's like a 10 MOA, you said?
Yeah, it's about a 10 MOA, yeah.
So it may not be the best for most people for precision shooting unless they're really steady when they press the trigger. But to get hits on high center chest at 9 to 15 feet, it really is a nice in-between with like a red dot and iron sights. Mm-hmm. And it's red, and then all of a sudden, boop, it's green. As soon as it's green, hit the gas. Yeah. Very interesting product.
Thank you.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
So we need to put some on some SIRT pistols and see how they work.
We'd be happy to help you.
That would be fun to play with that. That would be fun, because then it's like one of those drills, like acceptable precision, where you move the sight around and you get shots. You don't need shots. You can just do that. You got it?
Yeah, okay. You just got knocked down a bit.
Did I feel a little rowdy here already?
Sometimes you got to babysit. It's okay. It happens.
There we go. There we go.
You good?
It's almost like you haven't been on radio or TV before.
The
cross will hold it.
Yes.
It will maintain the integrity.
God is good, right?
God is good. But yeah, but I was thinking just when you're saying that, you had to have acceptable accuracy on that, and have. It sounds interesting. It's what you're saying, getting in tune with your equipment, because there's probably some subtleties. I don't know how Boolean that is when it actually turns or what have you, and just understand, like, okay, when it is of that color and you have a general natural point of aim, just getting a lot of high volume repetitions of that semi-index shooting with some visual confirmation to just see where it hits with just say like a modest 6-inch type circle going back at distance. Anyways, that's just my random initial thoughts.
No, it's good. It's got lower profile design, so it's faster sight acquisition out of the holster. It doesn't require a new holster because it mounts like iron sights. Plus, you get a lot more target visibility without the frame of a red dot. But you also don't have to search for your red dot. Iron sights typipally come right up on target for a lot of people just because it's natural. So we've taken that. We're not trying to take over the red dot market, but we're definitely trying to give people an additional sight option. Yeah. Also, it does not require batteries because it's tritium, so it has a 12-year lifetime warranty. And then also, it doesn't add extra bulk. So if you're trying to carry in a lower profile design or something, or an additional, if you want to wear leather clothing in the summer and you don't want to carry your EDC with a red dot, we've got an additional sight system for you. So
yeah, another thing that's cool about it is it'll go right in the dovetail. So you don't need any special mounting plates or anything. So if someone maybe they're starting to feel the need to transition to something other than irons because their eyes are getting goofy or whatever the case may be, it might be a means to be able to keep their favorite gun that they are a little sheepish about sending away to get milled and machined. Or trading out for something new.
Right.
That eyes piece is such a big reality nowadays.
Oh,
I mean, there's a huge generation of shooters that I'm not going to throw myself there because he's older than I am. So his generation.
Like a couple days.
They're losing that, and it's happening. It's real.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
So the other thing, because it is tritium, you can use it target focused or sight focused, so you don't have to leave have your eyes leave the threat. So it's good for a lot of people. And we didn't intend to make it a beginner site. However, we have found a lot of instructors are changing their sites over to it because it takes out the 3-dot sight confusion about front sight focus, so they can focus on all of their other fundamentals and then go back to a 3-dot sighting system later or red dot. So then they're already moving forward, but their fundamentals are strong. So
yeah, I like listening to Tess talk about this product because I know she's a shooter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you just hear it in her voice, then what she's saying.
Actually, the first time I met her, we were squatted together at the NRA World Shooting Championship.
We were.
And that was my first foray into competition shooting. I like the whole idea of scoring and stuff made no sense to me. And it's like, hey, you'd have got a better score if you'd have fired those 6 rounds into the air. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, Mike and Britt, tell us about what's new in the world of next level training.
Well, we can revisit again our true break.
Oh,
Let's talk about that.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah, this will be super fun to talk about because this is actually developed about 10 years of development. I don't know if we told you that before. 10 years we played around with the concept, just confidentially, of allowing the trigger to move left and right.
Here, show it to the camera.
Yeah, I can show to the world out there. It's probably hard to see with the GoPro, but the trigger can move left and right. And let's just take a step back. Almost philosophically, a strength will mask a weakness. And I'm all for a lockdown, ironclad, good grip, right? But that will mask a little bit of underlying weakness of trigger mechanics, particularly when it goes strong and weak hand, which is still an issue. And as you want to improve, trigger mechanics is something to consider. Just to break the shot without moving the muzzle, right? And isolation of the gripping action with the trigger finger. So when the trigger can move, doesn't matter how hard your grip is, the trigger can move. And if you throw it off, then it's going to get thrown in the gutter, and then you have to reset it. So that's the premise of the
minute effect upon the angular deviation of the gun in relation to your eye and the target.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I like those word noises.
As the distance gets longer, that might mean down the road it hits a little kid on a bicycle, right?
Yeah.
Well, I can see that being huge for women too, because one of the things that women have, in spite of how hard our industry tries to manufacture products for women, one of the biggest problems we have is getting a good grip with reaching the trigger.
Right.
And so, but a lot of people don't understand the importance of that, and being able to see that in a training situation before you get to where it matters
it's crazy.
Really important.
We've talked to guys that have shot for 30, 40, 50. So we're talking about high-level shooters. The piece that really opened up my eyes is, there's targets that tell you, oh, too much trigger. There's other equipment out there that'll tell you, oh, you're pushing, you're pulling. And what we found with this is that, I hate to say this, most of them are BS. It's just not realistic.
Well, a lot of those are really based on one-handed bullseye shooting, completely different platform too.
Completely different.
And with a pistol where the trigger truly does go straight to the rear into the frame, like a 1911.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
completely different mechanics.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing is fantastic. Now,
I'll let you play with it.
For those of you that don't know, and maybe this is something that you'd rather say because it's your product, but this little insert, this tongue in here, gives you a variation of margin for error. So the higher number is you can have a crappier trigger press and it will still cycle. The lower number is that trigger press needs to be really, really clean. So when you sent me one of these, I put a 150 on there. I tell you, the 150, I was actually getting to the point where I was doing 30, 40 presses at a time, switching hands. But when I went to the 100, that was humbling. It was amazing how different the 150 to the 100 was. So now I'll just pick it up and I'll try it. What my goal is to get through 15 rounds like a magazine. Yeah. And then I'll pick it up left-handed and back and forth. But quite often I'll pick it up and click, and it stops, and I got to reset it. Yeah. So
that's a trick. You bring up some points there. First off, progressions and regressions, and like a 350 or 250, like it just basically has a wider landing pad for, like you said, margin of error. And why is that important? Like, well, some people they're starting to start somewhere, and if they're throwing it in the gutter every step, that's a little bit low in the motivation factor. So let's let them get some continuity, some reps.
Get a little dopamine burst there.
Dopamine burst. Absolutely. Because it's more about the longer haul on that. And I hope they don't stop on that. They'll continue to progress. And the 250 to 150, it gets narrower and narrower, so your press has to be more in line. If you get to a 100, as Clint said, then you're then you really have your muscular contractions as such, so that flesh that engages the trigger is going fore and aft, even though our joints are lateral. Isn't that weird sometimes? Like, who do they build guns for? Because you think about it, I mean, it goes this way,
Right.
and it arcs up a little bit in an angle your finger doesn't go, but yet we go left and right with these 3 rotary motion devices called joints, you know? I know, it's kind of weird, like why guns are built that way, and why everything, like why the trigger.
Well, it was probably some evolution of design that they held on to some aspect of the previous evolution, because you got to have that.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at, like, people say trigger squeeze, that comes from matchlocks and from crossbows, where the trigger bar went down the entire stock. So you actually did squeeze the trigger, and then the next evolution was get rid of the bar, and they put kind of more of a modern, you know, hinge trigger kind of device.
Wow.
But if you think about, then the angle of the stock is going to affect that versus. So I think a lot of it has to do with we got to have this aspect of the new gun, because we've always had that on the other one. You know, you look at the first cartridge guns, like the Trapdoor Springfield. Why does it have a ramrod on it?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't need one. It doesn't need one. We got to have a ram. We'll call it a cleaning rod. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, the carbines had saddle rings, and they don't ride horses anymore. But we got to have that. And people having striker guns where they need a thumb safety because they got to have it.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it has to do with that.
Dogma.
Yeah. Our
It's
technology is always one step behind our training technique.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe someone else is going to build a gun that's like made exactly for our anatomy. You know?
It would actually kind of press that way, right?
It would.
Yeah, one of the things I was really surprised to see, and I think you had talked about this once in another interview, and it just didn't connect with me. There is always a little bit of movement of that trigger as it comes back.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the break point, it can be directed to the rear, but as soon as you touch it, you can see the little flag on top.
Yeah.
There's always a little bit of a whoop.
Yeah, a little bit of a
right
Dixie
away.
do.
And whenever I did it, the interesting thing for me was I thought I was pulling it back directly, like the way that I would, without the weight of a true handgun in my hand. But it took me.
If you think about the instruction we mostly give to people, press it straight to the rear kind of stuff. And as I started to just embrace that little swoop and make sure that the landing part was the same, that's when I started shooting better with this
Really?
stuff. Yeah, so it's embraced that.
It's
just
kinda,
nowhere to settle it out, because as you said, ergonomically, the way our hand is and the way we interface with the gun, there's going to be some movement.
What about when you go at speed? Like when you go like full speed, like you're up.
I found so long as it lands right the first time and my grip is consistent.
Yeah.
But if I grab it a little bit different, or if I allow my trigger finger to move. So the one thing I would be curious to see if there was a way to measure this movement while we're getting sight disruption and slides moving back and forth. Because there's inherent movement of the triggers. Even if you keep complete control of it, there's some type of movement there. Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people will press and then they'll come off to it.
Yeah. You can still work
every
break,
time you
reset,
press
repress.
again, it's you're getting a new point. And as much as fine as that movement is, just a little bit that way or that way is going to affect that press.
To your point, that's something that you definitely still want to instill, is that prep, break, and then a reset, reprep. Like living on that wall, which is really cool for them, just on that too. You know what I mean?
Did it change your trigger finger placement? Because that's the one thing. People start moving their finger around and find that, holy cow.
I was getting a new callus in a different place.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not where I normally press the trigger.
And that was from this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And or in your personal life?
Yeah.
Or life?
Oh, did I say the word?
No, you're good. You're doing great.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
Did I swear? Did I?
No.
What's my name?
Yeah. That's my name.
Yeah, fantastic training. So what else do you guys have coming up? Any secret?
Nothing else we can really talk about. We did add some slides to this that are fabulous, that really throw it. Have you even seen the slides yet?
I have not seen the slides yet.
Too, don't you?
I gave them away.
Oh, you gave them away. We have some slides that are really cool.
That
allow you to put some sights on there. That now the fin sticks up through the sights and you can see it moving. There's another one that blocks it so you can't see it moving. And then there's another level that actually acts like a full-size slide that has a window in it. So now you see your sights up here, but in the window you can see the flag moving. So It's really pretty cool for some training purposes.
Yeah, when I was doing it in a class, I had 5 of these in a class, and I had everyone just kind of watch and just allow the fin to kind of tell you what the movement's doing, and then change your position of your trigger finger and see if that affects it. But ultimately, when they were starting to get some level of success with it, then I was having them take it out of line of sight here, behind them here. Don't look at it and start to recognize what correct feels like.
Yeah.
That's huge.
You want to know what it feels like.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to see that stuff, especially if I'm worried about someone trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we do have the little shield at first. So you do see the flag, all right? Then you take away the visual upon full presentation. But to your point too, just even not looking at it from different orientations, but even from full presentation when you can't see it, has that effect. So progressions and regressions. I think that concept has to be integrated with the training protocol and the whole products.
The other thing you were going to jump on earlier is when you talked about picking it up and trying those first 10 shots.
Yeah.
That's that cold bore, right? That's that uncalibrated training. That's huge. And for us, if you can't really get the 10 right off the bat, cold picking up, fresh trigger on the finger, the reality is whichever one you can get between them is really where you're honestly at, right? You want to work to get that next one.
I think one interesting thing to try, and I tried this, I couldn't make it work with what I had at home, but it would be neat to modify a holster so that you could have that and actually go from the holster.
The new slide allows that.
Oh, I guess it would, because then you'd be able to put it right. Yeah, I was trying to put it in a holster, it was falling out.
The new slide, I know we didn't bring it like idiots. I gave it on the way here or prior to here, but I think you really like that because it's you can, even if you don't go with the holster, just some like broken grip type drills, just extend, get a little bit of natural point of aim with it. It's really not meant for that so much, but yeah, then having those mechanics when you're fully orientated in full presentation, so and going at speed, so they're there and accessible, just on demand, subconsciously.
Cool. Well, there's some other stuff that we can't talk about yet, but we'll hopefully SHOT Show.
Okay.
SHOT Show.
SHOT Show.
You will hear about it before, but
I know you got some new training stuff coming up, and I always look forward to the training you guys provide. It's fantastic. Mike, I could listen to you talk for days. I enjoy watching your videos.
We'll make some more. I'm gonna come out of the basement and.
So Clint is the one watching your videos. I was trying to figure out who it is.
One person. One person is from Pennsylvania or wherever, East Coast.
All right. Well, excellent. So Tes Salb from HIVIZ. Check out HIVIZ. Again, they're one of the sponsors on the PDN Training Tour, and so is NextLevel Training. NextLevel Training is a sponsor of PDN Training Tour and Meet the Pressers here. And we thank you for your support. And again, I always thank you guys for your mentorship and friendship and your support for me professionally as well. But,
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Hey, Grant. Thanks. Awesome source.
Thanks, brother.
Good to see you. We'll see you guys later on. We got some more interviews coming up today and tomorrow at the 2026 NRA annual meeting. Make sure that you go onto the website and check out the game that Matt put in there. You can scan a code and maybe win some different prizes from some of our sponsors. Until next time, stay armed and be well regulated.
Cool. That's live, huh? Still live.
Still live.
Still live. End the session. Bye.